It's true that lost media seems to go on forever. Whenever I go to browse the lost media Discord or check their wiki, there always seems to be something new and something I've never heard of. However, what about the lost media that somehow nobody has heard of? Lost media that's just considered a rumor, a myth, or simply lacks any evidence whatsoever. I've been in the lost media community for a while now, and I can confidently say that there is a lot of stuff out there that lacks any supporting details, and the ones that do have something to their name are extremely vague. So today, we're going to be looking at a lot of these mysterious pieces of media. These are just 10 pieces of unconfirmed lost media. Number 10. The Amazing World of Gumball, The Downer, Original Draft. The Amazing World of Gumball is by far one of my favorite shows. Starting in 2011 on Cartoon Network, the show has seen amazing ratings and reviews due to its humor and charming art style. The integration of animation, both 2D and 3D, in a live-action setting just adds to the mesmerizing Amazing World. The show explores the escapades of different characters, mostly focusing on Gumball Watterson in the fictional town of Elmore. The 36th episode of Season 3, named The Downer, revolved around the Watterson family attempting to cheer up Gumball when he's in a bad mood. I faintly remember this episode, mainly because I'm literally the exact same way in the morning. Every episode in the series fits the 11-minute format, thus putting this at 11 minutes. However, the lost media here is the original draft of the episode, which was extremely dark and had a melancholy tone to it at the time. Ben MacLeod, the creator of the show, claimed in a tweet that the dark nature of the original version caused the episode to be rewritten. Any other details related to the episode have not surfaced anywhere online. There's not much else to this, as Mr. MacLeod hasn't responded to any questions on the tweet. The only possible leads I can see pertaining to this would be through storyboard animators, writers for the episode or season, or Ben MacLeod himself. But you've probably been wondering why this is classified as unconfirmed, if we already know it was rewritten. Well, to that I say, we don't even know if the original version still exists, much less storyboards for it or any sort of animation test, and that's enough to leave it unconfirmed. Number 9. Yeah Beavis 1. You guys are probably going to say that I'm trolling by putting this on here, but let me just get the information out so we can get a conversation going. Yeah Beavis 1 was first mentioned in an issue of Video Games and Computer Entertainment in June of 1989 on a listing for mail-order video games. It was meant to be a release for the Nintendo Entertainment System, yet never showed up in any stores. The game was later advertised in July, August, and September. In October, the game was listed once more, yet it was under a different name, Yeah Beavis 1. Listings for this game would continue on until January of 1990. After that, it was never mentioned again, and nobody was quite sure what the heck this game was supposed to be. However, there are some theories to explain its existence. The first theory is that it was a copyright trap. What this means is that if another company directly copied their listing, it can be proven as a copy by showing this non-existent game. And to be honest, that's a solid and well thought out strategy. The second is that the game was just a placeholder in the magazine. That theory is self-explanatory. Theory 3 is that the game was meant as an inside joke. What it could mean, however, nobody quite knows. Theory number 4 states that this game was unlicensed, and it was probably a name for the game Baby Boomer by Color Dreams, or it was an entirely different game developed by companies putting out these ads. Suspected games that could have spawned from Yeah Beavis 1 are as follows. Rai Rai Kinoshi's Baby Kinoshi na Amida Daibukan, hoping I'm saying that right, was speculated to actually be the game, and that the title Yeah Beavis 1 is just a rush translation for the game. This game also happened to be released in 1989, just as Yeah Beavis 1 was supposed to be. The only problem with this theory is that Rai Rai Kinoshi's Baby Kinoshi no Amida Daibukan, oh my gosh, that is a mouthful, remained a Japanese exclusive game, so it saw no international releases. The other suspected game is Super Pitfall 2. The game was intended as a sequel to Activision's NES title Super Pitfall, a platformer released in 1986. There's a really complex explanation that I won't look too into because it's hard for me to explain. Plus, at the time I'm writing this, I just woke up, so I don't have the mental capacity to understand it. So, it's on screen now. There's absolutely no concrete evidence to support this theory. Number 8. Sonic the Hedgehog, Awakening. Sonic the Hedgehog is an iconic staple of video games, just like Super Mario and Master Chief. I would throw the default Fortnite guy in here too, but you guys would actually kill me. Originally released for the Sega Genesis on June 23rd, 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog took off around the world as one of the greatest games ever for its time. Sonic the Hedgehog Awakening was a game in development around 2006 to 2009, but ended up getting cancelled out of nowhere. However, what makes this most puzzling is that the game was cancelled before it was even announced, thus classifying it as unconfirmed. Now, you're probably thinking, there's gotta be some kind of leak that indicates that this game exists, and yikes, could you be more wrong. There was basically nothing to this game. No build, no video, no pictures, anything really. The only place where this game comes from is from a website for Pete Capella, the voice actor for Silver the Hedgehog. He is credited for working on this project, which means that they had a story developed enough for voice acting. Fans of the Sonic franchise believe that this is supposed to be a sequel to Sonic 06, which was the first appearance of Silver in the franchise. Fans believe that Awakening was supposed to center around Silver, yet the game was cancelled due to the poor response Sonic 06 received. There's more speculation that it could be just a working title for another Sonic game. However, all other games that it could be are already listed under their own separate titles on Mr. Capella's website, so that theory doesn't hold up much. You can view his website using an archive from the Wayback Machine, so you know that this isn't just a story someone made up. Although, one has to speculate what kind of game this could have been. Number 7. Cosmic for the Atari 2600. I've talked about Atari and arcade games before on a previous video I did about the legacy of Polybius. Check it out if you haven't seen it, by the way. And the mysteries about old retro video games are always my favorite. The Atari 2600 was one of the first home consoles, released all the way back in 1977, and has been a staple of classic video games. Cosmic is a huge complicated case here, as it was supposed to be released for the Atari 2600, although there is no known date for the game listed for its supposed release. Cosmic was supposed to have been released by 2 companies, as it was supposed to see release in only 2 countries. One being Australia, planned to be released by a company called Space Vision. The second being in Thailand, planned to be released by Shoplifter/Space Harrier. The game was just like any other average Atari game, being on a cartridge for the console. It's also rumored that this game is just a single-player game, but that's pretty much all the information out there about the whole thing. The most commonly accepted theory is that the game is just a different name/reskin of an already existing Atari game. This could be any space shooter game for the console, since there were a lot of those already for its time. However, there's no connection with any of those companies and any of the suspected games Cosmic could be. This means that it could be its own original game. However, nobody really knows. Number 6. Jack and the Sodor Construction Company. Lost Thomas and Friends spin-off. Ever since I did my video on Thomas the Tank Engine's pilot episode, I knew that eventually I would talk about the series again on my channel. However, this is a bit different. In the 6th season of Thomas and Friends, the Sodor Construction Company was introduced and had a few episodes focused around it. As a small kiddo, I had a lot of these episodes on like DVDs and stuff like that. The rumor is that the Jack and the Sodor Construction Company, commonly referred to Jack in the Pack, was filmed in 2002 and had its episodes integrated into Thomas and Friends. Only 13 of the planned 26 episodes were completed, however, before Hit Entertainment shut down the whole thing. Apparently, this isn't even the first rumor of a Thomas and Friends spin-off show. An article from The Guardian published on March 21st, 2001 discusses the idea of a Thomas and Friends spin-off focusing around road vehicles, similar to how Jack in the Pack was. This wasn't supposed to have new characters, instead using characters like Brady the Bus, Trevor the Traction Engine, and Harold the Helicopter, even though he's not a road-based vehicle. Nobody knows if this concept went anywhere, but it's clear that it didn't become a show. The cancelled 13 episodes of Jack in the Pack are unknown to even exist. We don't know if they entered filming stage before Hit decided to cancel the series. Some concepts for these cancelled episodes were actually reworked into episodes in the actual Thomas and Friends series, which is pretty neat. We do know the plot synopsis and concepts for these episodes, so they do exist. But anything further than that, well, it's just pure mystery. Number 5. Pokemon Computer Warrior Porygon English Dub. Pokemon is one of Nintendo's biggest accomplishments. The massive trading card game, the video games, and the anime are just prime examples of how well Pokemon has succeeded. The episode we're going to be looking at is rather infamous, however, due to the unfortunate results it had on viewers. On December 16, 1997, an episode in Japan aired called Deno Sensei Porygon, hope I'm saying that right as well, or better known as Electric Soldier Porygon, and the effects of the episode were horrifying. Due to the constant flashing lights and the bright imagery, the episode caused a good portion of Japanese viewers to suffer from seizures. The episode was immediately pulled from broadcast after that, and an investigation into it started. It was said that 685 children were sent to the hospital because of this, and nearly 10,000 viewers suffered from blurred vision, dizziness, and headaches, along with other symptoms. The original Japanese version of the episode was released online, although unofficially, yet there has been no English dub that has showed up. It was believed to have never been dubbed due to the controversy surrounding the original Japanese version. The theory was supported when Veronica Taylor, the voice of Ash in the English dub, claimed in 2004 that the episode had never been dubbed and had no intention of ever doing so. However, an interview with Maddie Blaustein, the voice of Mew in the English dub, claimed that there was an episode produced with the flashing colors edited out, but they were still unable to release it due to the episode's ban. Eric Stewart, voice of both Brock and James in the English dub, claimed that the episode did in fact exist, and he had seen it. Nobody knows if it's legit, as the episode was originally pulled way before 4Kids had the right to dub the anime in April of 1998. Most people believe that the voice actors are confusing the episode with another, or a Who's That Pokemon segment. But until anything is completely proven, this remains unconfirmed. Number 4. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Commodore 64 port. The Commodore 64 isn't talked about a lot these days, so I'll explain it here for the youngsters watching. The Commodore 64 was basically a home computer, except it was 8-bit. A lot of people utilized the system for games, as many were produced and run on the C64. So if you played games on the Commodore 64, you're basically one of the first PC gamers ever. It was initially released to the public in August of 1982 and received widespread attention. During the thrill of the Commodore 64, the classic NES/Famicom game Super Mario Bros. Was planned to have a port to the computer. A company called Orpheus was supposedly developing it sometime in 1986, but it was likely denied a license by Nintendo. It was first mentioned on a forum board back from 2005 called lemon64.com, where a user by the name of NYCEGuy24 claimed to have played a disc version of Super Mario Bros. On the Commodore 64 sometime between 1986 and 1987. Another user in the thread suggests that maybe it was a copy of the unreleased port from Orpheus, yet they never went into further detail. A few years later, a website called GamesThatWeren't.com published a 2012 article about the port, but added that Nintendo never allowed the license for it. It also stated that the game may not have even been completed, or possibly even started at all. Both pages state that this would have been an official port, but anything else besides that is pretty much unknown, although it's likely that it never made it past any concepts, if it even was in development. Number 3. Ed, Edd and Eddy, Luck Be an Ed Tonight, and A Room with an Ed. Ed, Edd and Eddy is a classic show that I remember fondly from the golden years of Cartoon Network. It aired alongside a lot of classic shows from my childhood, like Chowder, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Flapjack. Originally released on January 4th of 1999 on Cartoon Network, the show saw high ratings and inevitable success. 2 episodes named Luck Be an Ed Tonight and A Room with an Ed, both episodes being a play on words, Luck Be a Lady Tonight and A Room with a View, were slated to release during the 5th season of the series. The only thing regarding the existence of these episodes is from a list posted to an Ed, Edd and Eddy news site called Edtropolis. It listed a lot of Season 5 episodes, talking about the plots for each episode. The descriptions for the 2 episodes are as follows. Luck Be an Ed Tonight. According to his horoscope, this is Ed's luckiest day ever, and Eddy intends to milk it for all it's worth. A Room with an Ed. Ed and Eddy slip through Ed's bedroom window, only to find that Ed doesn't live there anymore. The walls have been painted pink and dollies have taken the place of moldy socks. Sarah announces that Ed's bedroom is now her and Jimmy's playroom, while Ed has been evicted to a cardboard box in the garage. Eddy is enraged at Ed's bratty sister getting her own way yet again. Ed counsels Ed to accept his fate graciously, but Eddy forces Ed to stand up to Sarah. One of the first comments on the page for the Lost Media Wiki states that these episodes were written by the team and they were unhappy with those drafts. That ended up with the episodes being scrapped in favor for the 2009 movie Ed, Edd and Eddy's Big Picture Show. However, a reply goes and argues the confirmation of its non-existence. None of these claims have anything going for them. So, until someone from the crew comes out publicly and says so, these remain as unconfirmed. Number 2. Kurt Cobain's Ren and Stimpy song. Ren and Stimpy was one of those shows that is just disturbing and eerie now that I look back on it. It had an interesting art style, sure, but the creator, John Kricfalusi, is an insane mess who I won't be covering. Instead, we'll be focusing on his creation and the influence it had on a popular musician by the name of Kurt Cobain. If you don't know Kurt Cobain, either you're too young or you've been living under a rock your whole life. Kurt Cobain was the lead singer of a band called Nirvana back in the late 80s and early 90s. In August of 1991, Nickelodeon aired its newest show called Ren and Stimpy, created by John Kay. The rumor goes that one day in 1990, a scraggly teenager walked into Spumco Animation Studio claiming that he wanted to write a song for the series, which the executives didn't like it and they trashed it. If you have very, very strong context clues, you'd be able to figure out that that teenager turned out to be Kurt Cobain. No known copies have resurfaced, mainly because Nickelodeon trashed it. The only proof that suggests it exists is from a podcast of Billy West, who voiced Stimpy, discussing the story. However, John Kricfalusi claims that he doesn't remember Cobain and wasn't aware that that rumor even existed. So whether or not this song actually exists, well, it's unknown. Unfortunately, Kurt Cobain committed suicide on April 5th of 1994, so there's no way of reaching the legend to ask him to verify these rumors. Cobain's estate has not commented on the situation, and I personally believe we should stay out of it. Kurt Cobain is a legend, and we should let him rest peacefully. Remember, if you're struggling with depression or dark and harmful thoughts, you don't have to be alone, and you don't have to suffer in silence. There are people out there you can talk to, friends and family, and you can reach out to a counselor at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, available 24/7. Help is available for those who need it. Number 1. Night of the Werewolf, a lost horror film. Thought I'd throw something different into the mix here. This is something not really talked about because of its age and it being a piece of foreign lost media. Las Noches de Hombre Lobo, or Nights of the Werewolf, is a Spanish and French horror film made by René Govar, starring the writer Jacinto Molina Averes. The plot is about a professor who learns his student has lycanthropy, which means he can turn into a werewolf, and that professor uses the student's ability for revenge. The actor of the Spanish werewolf, Paul Naschy, was the only person who claimed that it was filmed, much less it was filmed in Paris, and took that claim to his grave. The director, René Govar, was killed in a car accident a week after the film was set to enter processing. However, some stories contradict this, saying that the film was in the car with him and was destroyed in the accident. Others claim that it did indeed go to the processing lab, however, it wasn't completely paid for, and the lab held onto it as collateral. If you think that's complicated, there's more. People who were casted in this movie, with lead roles, claim that this movie was never even filmed in the first place. Although it is possible that this movie went on to become the 1970 film La Furia del Hombre Lobo, or The Fury of the Wolfman, since the plots are very similar. However, in a documentary about Paul Naschy, there's an image of what appears to be this film, so who knows? Maybe it does exist after all, lost to the sands of time. So, there you have it, 10 pieces of unconfirmed lost media. I sincerely apologize that I formatted this video like a top 10 list. I want to make it clear that I'm not ranking these in any way whatsoever, and that this was just for the spread of information. I hope you learned something. If you did, then that's great, because you can hop in on the search. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider dropping a like and commenting your thoughts. You can go ahead and subscribe too, it's free, and you can be notified of my next upload. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!